Testing Agency is making special arrangements of 10 lakh masks, 10 lakh pairs of gloves, 1,300 infrared thermometer guns, 6,600 liters of hand sanitizer and an equal amount of disinfectant liquid, 6,600 sponges, 3,300 spray bottles and 3,300 cleaning staff at an all additional cost of almost rupees 13 crore. Well, we have a student, Mr. Avinash. Hello, Mr. Avinash. Can you hear me?
Yes, good afternoon. Tell me, I can hear you.
Yes, Mr. Avinash, thank you so much for joining us on live.
Yeah.
Well, Avinash, I would like to ask you, do you think NEE and JEE exams to be postponed or not?
See, the original exam was scheduled to be held in April from 7th to 11th.
Right.
JEE and again it was postponed to July.
Right.
And same was with the NEET exams. See, but at that time we could understand that the lockdown was going on and it was very difficult.
Right.
To go and to appear for the exam.
Right.
But now the scenario also is certainly worsened with more and more cases. The COVID cases on the rise. It was absolutely not feasible to go and appear for the exam. But looking at the current scenario, the government is absolutely not going to relent on going back on the decision of conducting the exam. Now it's very clear the government is keen to go ahead and conduct the exam tomorrow. So that is the first for the joint entrance exam and followed by on 13th the national NEET exam, the national entrance to eligibility test. I was very keen that the government would actually again rethink of postponing the exam at least till December or maybe the Jan next year.
Right.
But now very clear that the exam would be conducted and tomorrow we have to appear for the exam.
Right. Also, Mr. I would like to ask you that 55.36 only persons wants to postpone the exams. That means there is a huge majority that many of the students want the exam to be held. What do you have to say on this? Being a student, what do you have to say on this?
See, no doubt students are, the percentage what you mentioned is absolutely not in a position to appear for the exam because there's a mental stigma also of the coronavirus. No doubt the centers have been increased somewhere around close to around 660 centers have been increased throughout the country, and you can choose your choice of centers in whichever city close to you can. But still, other precautions have been taken, but the fear factor hasn't gone.
Right.
More with the parents also. Most of the parents, almost I can say 90% of the parents are absolutely not ready. In fact, my parents also are not willing to asking me not to appear for the exam this year. They are even ready to asking me to sacrifice this year and take up some studies on a short-time basis, online course, something, stay at home safely, and we will next year appear for this exam.
Right.
So we have a mixed reaction most from the parents also, and they are seeing to that we don't appear for the exam. The fear factor is more about the parents and the students as well to appear for this exam.
Right, yes, Mr. Avinash, I would like to ask you, don't you think the exam should be postponed to at least to like 3 to 4 months, because there are many students who are going into too much of stress. We can see that there is a student called Vikram who committed suicide after knowing the schedule of the JEE and NEET exams. Well, they are taking a lot of stress. What do you have to say on this?
See, the time we've got into a lockdown in mid-March till almost the May ending and the early of June, we were actually into a mental stress of the lockdown, staying at home, not able to meet any of our friends or any of our close relatives also.
Right.
And more importantly, the postponement of the exam. This exam was scheduled in the month of April and May.
Right.
Followed by July, but the constant postponement also has hit the students very badly.
Right.
It's very unfortunate that one of the students committing suicide. It's basically because of taking more steps. Now the government earlier announced one date, but looking at one side, there was a surge in coronavirus cases, followed by the stress of the exam. And more importantly, now the date been announced, has certainly given more like sleepless night to students and the parents as well. So the government going ahead and conducting the exam on the first month.
Right, Mr. Avinash, I would like to ask you, can you give me few reasons if you think that exams to be postponed, and also can you tell me few reasons if the exam should be postponed?
See, the reason why it has to be postponed is that no doubt whatever the precautions, the protocol for the government, the Ministry of Education is going to follow up in this conducting the JEE and the NEET exams.
Right.
The cases in India, in every state of in India, it's on the rise. If a person is traveling from somewhere in Bihar or Uttar Pradesh
Right.
to Delhi to the main center to appear for the exam, he's at a high risk. And followed by if a student from traveling from some other city,
Right.
village, probably to a city, it would be
That would be very difficult for such students, right?
Traveling to the center of the exam and appearing for the exam.
Right.
That is the fear factor which is leading to the postponement of the exam. On the other hand, the government, some state governments have even offered of giving some accommodation, and some IITs in the country like Delhi and other IITs have given and have come forward and offered ways to see to the students leave the centers and appear for the exam. But that is not, see, you can help them with appearing for the exam, you can help them with other things, but how will you help them in overcoming the stress and the fear of appearing the exam in this pandemic? So this is a major reason of the parents, the students and some faculty members constantly saying that this exam be postponed. Even knocking at the Supreme Court's door and saying that the exam be postponed. So
Right.
this is the primary reason being the coronavirus situation in India, and we even don't have a vaccine as of now.
Right.
So this is a major reason of the clamor growing up for the postponement of the exam. On the other hand, there is some fear or factor of like from some of the academies, from the universities of not only India and abroad also, writing to the Prime Minister saying that exams shouldn't be postponed because the students' career would be jeopardized, it should be at the risk. So that angle is also a genuine angle, but anything unfortunate happens to any of the students getting infected, that will lead to bigger issues. So the concern, the fear is among the students, parents also of not conducting the exam. But the other hand, the universities and academies or educationists are also planning for the exam to be conducted at this point of time because it's already got delayed. It was scheduled in somewhere in April, then July. Now it's been postponed to September.
Yes,
Both
also.
JEE and NEET exam. So now it is something like a litmus test what the students have to go through, appear this exam, and just hope for the best. That is what we can hope now. Now it's almost like many of the students are not willing also, but they have already also downloaded the exam hall ticket. So now it's all set for the exam to be conducted tomorrow, ma'am.
Yes, also Mr. Avinash, I would like to ask you, don't you think the exam should be postponed as of now because there are a rise of coronavirus cases day by day? So don't you think it is a major step for a student to about their personal health because of these JEE and NEET exams, risking their life for these exams?
See, that is what the students have been requesting the government.
Exactly.
The Ministry of Education also, the time this date the government has announced of probably postponing the exam for some more time.
Right.
But looking at the current scenario and looking at the other formats of education which is going on right now in India,
Right.
online formats, and looking at the vaccine also, it's unlikely that in the coming months also the cases looks like the COVID situation is not going to ease up now.
Exactly.
So the government is all very keen to conduct the exam now because already it looks like a postponement is almost to 5 months now.
Right.
So yes, it's at a higher risk of conducting the exam, but now the situation is look like that the exam is going to be conducted on the set date of September 1st and September 13th. The student left with no options either to appear for the exams or probably to skip the exam depending on the situation. Now it has to be seen tomorrow how many students would appear for the exam for the JEE and how many would actually appear on the September 13th. It can likely be like many of them might skip because of various other reasons at the last point also.
Right. Also, Mr. Avinash, I would like to ask you, don't you think the government should take some more measures for the students like public transport, because there is, when we are talking about, well, Jharkhand government is taking care of the students, you know, providing public transport. What do you have to say on this?
See, it's a good option of giving them public transport because the government, state governments have to come inside because this is a pandemic time and most of the transport in and around the country, in every state, the metro is not been working. The local buses also are not working as of now, have not been flying on the road. So it's the prerogative of the state governments to come forward and help students at this point of time.
Right.
If the student doesn't reach the examination center, if he doesn't have the conveyance, then whom it has to be blamed? It has to be blamed to the state government only.
Right.
Because the state government's responsibility is to provide transport to each and every student who's appearing to this exam. Otherwise, we have to postpone the exam. Till the situation completely comes to normal, you conduct the exam. If you're conducting the exam, it's the responsibility of the state government to provide a proper transport to all the students to come to the examination centers. So yes, it's a good initiative by the Jharkhand government. In fact, other state governments also, like Odisha and other states also, they have come up with providing accommodation and transportation to students who are appearing for this entrance exam.
Right. Avinash, thank you so much for joining us on live, Avinash.
Yes, thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you for calling me. It was really good to speak about this subject because this is certainly has become a talk of the town, and
exactly.
Students and parents are quite anxious about this exam.
Right.
So let's hope for the coming days. I hope and pray this exam goes up very well.
Definitely.
And all the students do well, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Avinash. Well, moving ahead, the entrance exam would be conducted in September across the country for 24 lakh aspirants. Well, many state governments are making arrangements for students that include transportation facilities, reopening of hotels for aspirants who will appear for the exams, among others. Well, meanwhile, IIT Delhi director has appealed to their alumni to come forward and help needy students reaching their exam centers on time. On the other hand, 6 ministers of opposition ruler states moved the Supreme Court seeking review of its order permitting the center to conduct NEET and JEE entrance exams this year amid the pandemic. Well, till we meet again, these were the latest updates. This is Savira Kotapalli signing off.